Welcome to another beautiful episode of the program. It is The Patriot, right here on Television Nigerian. My name is Cynthia Agbo, and of course, you know what The Patriot is all about, bringing to your doorstep, to your TV, everything about patriotism, those people, organizations that have been doing so many patriotic things in our country. And today is not an exception. I definitely have two amazing people with me. I'll be talking about the role of culture in nation building on the show today. I definitely know that there's a whole lot of things you want to know about culture. I will be going straight down to looking at the aspect of children now, not culture as an adult, even though we know it's important, but culture in the life of children. And I have to my right, I have Mrs. Odum Henrietta, who is the principal of Pacesetters Academy, Gwarimpa. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
All right. And to my left, I have Mrs. Akukwe Vivian, who is the principal of Pacesetters Academy, Wuse. Great to have you.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right, so like I said earlier, we're talking about the role of culture in nation building. I also be looking at this, instilling cultural values in children, because which is the main thing we are talking about. So let us start, first of all. Vivian, let's start. What is culture? I definitely know we have some foreknowledge of what we're taught culture is as children. So from the adult point of view, what is culture?
Okay. Thank you very much. Culture is the people's way of life, the way people do things, the entities. We all come from some place. So those things that make us unique as a person, as individuals, as a group, that is what culture is all about. So we bring all those things to play, it makes us who we are. It gives us a sense of identity. And then that's what we portray to the community. That's what we show to the community. But then what we also look at is how do we integrate these various cultures together? And we're talking about nation building. I have to be me. You have to be you. But how do we harness these individual differences to create a viable society? We can only do that when we acknowledge other people's culture, get to respect what other people think, how they do things, their norms, their values. When we do all that, believe me, we'll have a better society. And especially as it has to do with children, we have to start at a very young age. If we get them young at that time, get them to respect everybody's opinion, or other people's opinion, other people's way of doing things, you realize that we'll have cultural cooperation. And cultural cooperation is basically one of the most equality-oriented type of cooperation we could have. So if we begin to teach the kids from the cradle to respect other people's culture, definitely we'll have a better society.
Okay, so let's move on to you. What is culture?
Okay, I think from where she stopped, it's basically a group of people's identity. What makes you different from the other person next to you? And one of the problems we have is one culture thinking they're superior to the other culture. And that's one of the things we look forward to stopping in our young children. Everybody's entitled to his or her beliefs and orientation. I don't think anybody has the sole right to say, my culture is better than your culture because I don't do this and this and this that you put in your culture, or you people should be doing this and this and this that you don't do. I think what we should do, like Vivian said, is to look at those things that make us human first. Let us be more tolerable to one another. If we have tolerance, definitely there'll be peace. And if there's peace, that's when we can talk about development. If I come to you and I'm not biased by what I think I know about people from your culture, I'll open my mind to learning one or two things from you. And if you do the same, we come to the table and we agree on so many issues. And that's when you can have development in our country and in our world. So
Like I said earlier, everybody's entitled to his or her culture. And I think we should respect that in one another so we can move on from everything that divides us and come together to talk about what unites us, more or less.
Okay. Let's go to this aspect, which is very dicey. We have a whole lot of cultures in Nigeria. Looking like I must say that we are so generous when it comes to culture, in the sense that there's so many. So and there's been this problem of one, like she said, one culture thinking that mine is better off. Oh, you eat dog meat, I don't eat dog meat. That means it's a problem. So from your own assessment of the cultural nature of our country, Nigeria, would you say that to a large extent, culture has been able to divide us?
Okay. I don't think culture divides us, really.
Looking at it like realistic now.
Yes. Okay, that's why in PCSS schools, we always have our annual cultural festivals where we celebrate the different cultures. We even go beyond the shores of Nigeria because our kids get to they travel out, they meet other people from different places, even in their immediate environments. They meet people who do different things or things different from what they know and believe to be the way of life. It's not a problem, just like I said. Culture shouldn't be a thing that divides us. Actually should be a tool for change. I believe culture is actually an agent of change. Because if I get to understand that I don't get to choose where I come from, you don't get to choose where you come from. It could have been the other way around. I could have come from the north and you from the east. But I'm from the north, or I am from the east and you are from the north. I didn't get to choose that. And so we have to find a way to come together, find a way to teach our children, because they are the tomorrow we see. If we get them to know that there is nothing wrong with A's culture and mine, B culture is not superior to the other person's culture, then we'll have developments. We need to emphasize those things that unite us, just like she has said. Okay, let me give you a typical example. You eat rice. I eat rice. Rice is probably being produced produced more in the east or something like that. It's being produced in one culture, right? But we all have a way of eating the same rice. The northerner can use it as tuwo. I use it probably as
Other maybe with beans or stew or vegetable.
Exactly. And then another culture has a way of preparing the same rice. And then when you go beyond the shores of Nigeria, I think there is this ongoing informal war between Nigeria and Ghana, who has the best jollof rice.
The best jollof rice.
Yes, that's to show you that it depends on the way you look at it. It depends on the way I eat my rice. The same thing applies to our culture. Every culture, I can tell you that, preaches unity. No culture is divisive. But because we are in this part of the world, for instance, we tend to think, okay, because you're from the majority, I am from the minority, I probably feel cheated, and you probably think your culture is superior to mine.
Okay, all right. So let me come to you now. Do you think that Nigeria would have been better off with just one culture?
I don't think so. I strongly disagree to that ideology. The thing is, it should be something that integrates us. It's working in other climes. It can also work here for us. If you can look beyond the differences that we have. If you look at other cultures, you can learn one or two things that can help you as a person. Nigeria cannot function properly with just one culture. That is even against nature. That's the honest truth. Because there's no culture that has it all. That's the truth. You can't say, for example, the Easterners have all the classes of food in their types of food they eat, or they have the best clothing for the Nigerian weather, or they have the best brains. At some point, you will want to know how the Northerners are doing theirs, how the Yorubas are doing it, how the Shekiris are doing it. There are one or two things you want to learn from all the other cultures. And aside that, it makes for economic growth. You know, when you put out biases from your mind and look, into other cultures, it's an avenue for the economic development for you. Imagine the freedom one feels traveling all the way from the east to the north to get localized there. You start up a business there. You're not being harassed for papers and all that. You can marry amongst them. Even in our public sector, private sector as well. You can't say because you're from Edo State or you're from Kaduna, you should employ people from your place alone. I mean, that alone is the beginning of downfall of your business.
Yeah, but we've been seeing that happen. That would have been my next question, but now that you've brought it up, we've seen that happen a couple of times. We see people that get to employ people that they are from the same place with them, even when those people are not competent enough to do the job. Because if you're having an establishment, it's all about competency. Yeah. So when we see a lot of cases of, the boss is Yoruba and he tends to bring more of his Yoruba brothers. Not because the Hausa man or the Igbo woman does not know how to do it, but he just wants to favor that man that comes from the same place with him. So can you say that it has really helped us?
Isn't it really the essence of our cultural day celebration in peacemakers? Because what it does is, first of all, in every classroom in our school, you have people of mixed backgrounds there.
Okay.
So you get to know that everybody shouldn't answer a name that starts with Chi or Abdul. There are people that answer names that are strange to you. And that's one of the first orientations you get. That, okay, what kind of name is that? Where are you from? Oh, really? You get to know there are other places in Nigeria apart from your place. And then when there are cultural day celebrations like this, like what I did in my school for the first time, I got a lot of Igbo parents wearing northern clothes, eating northern food, dancing northern dances. I got a lot of the northern parents doing the same for the Igbo, Yoruba. We mixed everybody, trying to tell the kids, you don't have to stick to what you know. Explore the world. The world is a very big place. Explore. And what that does is that at the end of the day, these children grow up with that idea that I have to listen to everybody's content of character. Not because I know you're from my place or anything. Let people get their job on merit. That will even foster hard work and integrity in our educational system. When people know that it's not about where I'm coming from, it's about what I have to offer where I'm going to. You tend to be more serious with your studies. But if you believe it's okay, I'll look for somebody from my place to, get me employment. You find out we have a whole generation of mediocres and things will not work so well. So the whole essence of it is we try to create that environment of tolerance, open-mindedness, acceptance, hospitality. Let people welcome other people from other culture. And you too, explore. Eat other people's food, wear their clothes, listen to their stories. Every culture has folklores. Listen to their story because these stories help you understand why people reason the way they reason, act the way they act, react the way they react. If you open your mind to that, you will be shocked at what you didn't know existed in this world. And it's all for your own benefit. You'll be more enlightened. And you find out your decisions will be based on enlightenment, not based on your biased mind or your biased prejudices. You understand? Okay. So we have a lot to get from being cultured in our diversity. Let me put it that way.
All right. All right, so the program is still Patriot, and of course, we've been talking about the role of culture in nation building. We haven't not even entered nation building yet. We're still all around culture. And of course, I still have with me Mrs. Akukwe Vivian, who is the principal, Pace Setters Academy, Wuse, and also Mrs. Odum Henrietta, who is the principal, Pace Setters Academy in Gwarimpa. We'll go on a short break, and when we'll come back, we'll be looking at nation building relating to culture. And also, they will tell us a bit about Pace Setters, even though they have just been, putting it in bits and pieces. And of course, I have one particular question that I'm been saving it up for both of them. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. The program is still The Patriot right here on Television Nigeria. My name is Cynthia Agbo, and of course, we are still discussing the role of culture in nation building. I still have my guests, both of them seated down. They're waiting for my very heated question. Don't be scared, it's not that heated. All right, so I am definitely aware, while we're discussing, we had some talks about you don't marry from here, you don't marry from here because this one is better than this one. I had something relating to that, and it sparked up a question in my head. From the eastern part, we have this particular issue of, if you marry from, our people don't marry from this place. In fact, someone told me, was it not last week or so? He said, the people from Imo State, is it Imo or Abia? They prefer to marry outsiders, not their women. And he mentioned some cultural aspects. So I want to know, in the issue of marriage, we still have that lingering a lot. So would you say that, if you ask me, I would say it would have been better if we had one culture. But you want to make me believe that diversity in culture is better off.
Yeah.
But we still have some of these
Pockets of
lapses.
yeah.
What do you have to say about that?
Okay. Well, let me deep bias your mind
Okay.
about
I'm waiting.
about the people who don't intermarry. Okay. Now, remember that before colonization,
Okay.
people got to just know people within their environs, within that particular community. They didn't really travel. It was the elites, per se,
That
in
traveled.
those days that traveled, for trade and all that. And so the majority of the population didn't really have that much contact with with other cultures and other places. And then it took some time before that evolved for us to meet other people. And just like every other thing, you meet something new, you're very skeptical about it first. It takes some time to get to learn or know more about that before you actually accept it.
Okay.
So that, I think, is what makes it still linger, that I'm not too familiar with these people. Is it not better I remain with what I know?
Let me stick to what I know.
Yeah, let me stick to what I know. But what is happening now is that with a lot of awareness, especially when the children are still little, you get to expose them to other cultures. Let them know that, yes, beyond this little world, or beyond this wall, or beyond this sphere of your existence, there are other things there. There are bigger things. There are, different things, which are not bad. They are also good. So when we let them know from little that, yes, beyond your sphere of life, there is another existence. Other people exist. They do this, they do that. So what I think is we still need a whole lot of awareness.
Okay.
We need to promote our cultures a whole lot. And because the world is going global, it goes beyond Nigeria. And that is what pace-setter schools do. We create this awareness annually. We go beyond the sphere of Nigeria. We also, because we know our kids excel everywhere they go. They get to UK, they have first class in their areas of studies and all that, and they don't have that culture shock because they've already been exposed to this even while they were still in school here in Nigeria. So I think that we just need a little bit more awareness for people to really come out of that, sphere of it's just me and not others.
Okay, my almost final question for you will be, you had your culture day a few weeks back, and I know it was centered about cultural values, your tradition, basically your culture, and then instilling cultural values in children. Let us look at the children aspect right now, which is very important. In this world where we have a whole lot of everybody want to be tush. Let me use the word tush. We want to be, want to speak,
sophisticated.
Speak Queen's English to the approval of the Queen. We want to wear the foreign clothes. We want to do a whole lot of things. Now, how do you make your child? How do you make these little children understand that you need to tie igele? once in a while. You need to be able to say nakwana, yeah. You need to say karo, ozugo, all those. How do you
Indigenous
put
languages.
that interest in that child? Because everybody wants to speak Wanagana.
Yeah.
And when you start speaking Wanagana, then everything goes behind. So
Yeah.
how do you do that? What are the steps? Because a parent might be listening right now, watching right now. I'm like, okay, how do you make this child get to see interest in this? How do you do
Okay.
that?
I think it's very simple. Parents are the first models their children see in life before the teachers and outside the community. So, as a parent, what you can do to help your child get a culture to your own culture is, first of all, make sure you put in, every now and then, a bit of your local language.
Okay.
Yeah. Let the child know what come is in your local language. I want to eat. Excuse me. I want to tell you something. Simple communication. Just teach your child every now and then. Let the child have an idea of what all those things are in your own local language. And then we all attend the occasions. Yes, because I know working in public offices or private sectors and all that, we may be restricted to just English attires when we go to work, except for Fridays.
Fridays.
Yeah, I know the general rule in Abuja here, for example, Fridays you can wear traditional. So yeah, take advantage of that and keep on wearing your traditional attires. Let your child understand that it's not all about the linen or silk. There is Ankara.
In Sankara, you can do
There's a
different
showcase.
styles.
Yeah, there are traditional lace materials you can use to create all manner of fantastic styles, And then when you have weddings and you're going to church, make sure your weddings and church attendance has to be with your traditional attires. And then make sure you also make for your kids. Because most times we as parents, we sew these things for ourselves and still dress our children up in English attires. So they tend to think it's just for the adults. Maybe when you get old, that's when you start wearing those things.
Is that wearing
Yeah,
Ankara?
yeah, but you can teach them that, yes, they too can wear it. There's beauty in our local fabrics, And then your food as well. Don't restrict it to spaghetti and
Noodles and the rest of them.
all the rest of them. Teach them pounded yam, pounded cocoyam,
Oha
plantain,
soup.
oha soup. And all these things are very, very nutritious.
Banga soup.
If you eat them in moderation. You understand? Because I know the rave now is healthy eating. We tend to eat a lot of imported foods that are healthy. Not forgetting that our own local food here are also healthy. I mean, God cannot give us what will kill us. These are things we grew up to see. So, but the problem is when you don't eat them in moderation. So teach your children how to eat in moderation so that they don't have health issues eating our local food. So that way, you're exposing these children to a local, what makes you a Nigerian and what, is indigenous to the part of Nigeria you come from. So I remember when we were small, my father used to carry us on his lap to tell us stories that go with songs, and they were so interesting. The story of the tortoise, wisdom, the story of the spider, the dog, and it's mostly for the Igbos. So from there, you draw out moral lessons for your children. Do not steal, stealing is good, lying is not good, and all that. You're teaching them still, and it creates a family time for you, and it helps to bond you and your family when you have a time when you tell them stories. Because as they grow up, they need to have that identity foundation. If not, your child is going to grow up to think, I feel from the moon, more or less.
I must say thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
At least someone has definitely gotten to know about how to put their kids in the right way to be able to love, to learn the culture, their cultural values. All right, I must say this is where we draw the curtain on the program, The Patriot, right here on Television Nigerian, and we're talking about the role of culture in nation building. I definitely know that you have gotten one or two things. So till we come your way next time, don't forget that every single day, tell your child something about culture. You never could tell. He or she might just grow up to say, okay, I want to study culture in the university. And definitely he or she might want to know, do further studies on a culture, get into the culture of the Igbos, the Yorubas. Definitely there's a course like that in the higher institution. All right, so don't forget to like our page on our social media platform, on Facebook, Television Nigerian. On Instagram is TV Nigerian. And of course, we have on Twitter at TV Nigerian. Until I come your way, to have yourself a wonderful day. My name is Cynthia Agbo.